On a day filled with the usual bustle, Jesus found himself surrounded by an immense crowd. The number was so large that they were stepping on each other. In this chaotic scene, Jesus began to speak, first addressing his disciples. "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy," he warned them, using the metaphor of yeast to signify how a small amount of hypocrisy could permeate and corrupt their entire being. Jesus emphasized the importance of integrity, urging them not to fear those who kill the body but cannot do more. Instead, he pointed to a deeper, reverential fear of God, who holds eternity in his hands. To illustrate his point, Jesus spoke of sparrows, sold cheaply, and yet not one of them is forgotten by God. "Do not be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows," he reassured them, affirming God's meticulous attention to all of his creation. The conversation then turned to acknowledgement before God. Jesus declared, "Whoever acknowledges me before others, the Son of Man will also acknowledge before the angels of God." He also issued a stern warning about the unforgivable sin, blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, setting a solemn tone among his listeners. As he spoke, someone from the crowd diverted his lesson with a request, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus used this interruption as a teachable moment about greed. He told them the parable of the rich fool. This man stored up vast wealth and planned to enjoy it for years, yet God said to him, "You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you." This parable underscored the folly of placing trust in wealth over spiritual richness toward God. It was a direct challenge to the values held by many in the crowd. Jesus continued by advising against worry. He urged his listeners to consider the ravens and the lilies, how they neither toil nor spin, yet are cared for by God, much more than the fleeting riches of this world. He encouraged them to seek God's kingdom, promising that all these things would be given to them as well. This was not just a call to spiritual reflection, but to a radical trust in God's provision. As the discourse unfolded, Jesus warned them to be ready, like servants waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet. This readiness was not just physical, but a constant spiritual vigilance. He concluded with a warning about the times to come. Divisions would arise, not just in society but within families, because of him. His words were not just teachings but prophecies, inviting every listener to discern the signs of the times. Throughout these teachings, Jesus interwove promises of God's care with warnings of inevitable judgment, crafting a narrative that urged every heart to sincerity, courage, and a profound commitment to the truth.